Hello, class 10th. I again welcome you to study the chapter How do organisms reproduce? And in this chapter, we'll be studying about sexual reproduction in human beings. Now, before continuing further, let's again revise the significance of sexual reproduction. You already know that when eukaryotes reproduce sexually, offspring receive genetic material from two parents. Meiosis and fertilization shuffle and reshuffle genes, generating lots of genetic diversity. The offspring of sexually reproducing organisms are never identical to either their parents or their siblings, and of course, except for identical twins. Genetic variation increases the likelihood of a populations adapting to new or changing environmental conditions. Now let's continue with the reproduction in human beings. You already know that children grow to become adults, and to become adults they have to undergo or go through the stage of adolescence, that is puberty, which you have already studied in your 8th class. So now let's continue and revise about what changes do you face in adolescence. In your 8th class, you must have noticed that the girls are taller than boys and they look much elder than the boys of the same age. And now you might be noticing right now also the same thing. So let's compare the changes between the girls and the boys in the adolescent stage. The height of the boys grow very quickly, but it is later than the girls. And in case of girls, height increases very quickly and earlier than boys, like in 8th class. And in boys, the shoulders become broader. The face alters. Changes in faces are more pronounced than girls. Voice becomes lower and deeper, and even coarse also in some boys. Both body hair and facial hair start to grow, and testes produce sperm cells, and nocturnal emissions also occur. In case of girls, hips grow broader, face alters, and changes in faces are less distinctive than boys. Voice becomes higher in pitch, body hair starts to grow, ovaries produce egg cells, and menstruation starts to occur. Apart from body changes, there are certain emotional changes also, like there is too much of hatred at one time and too much of love at the other time. You're sad at one time and really very happy to another at the other time. Means there are mood swings at this age, which is not uh, not the other is not able to understand why you are behaving like that. But the question is, why do these changes occur? And what is the link between these changes that you experience and to the maturation of your reproductive organs? Let's study about these, and let's study about the maturation of reproductive organs and the linking between in the reproductive health. The male reproductive system consists of portions which produce the germ cells and other portions that deliver the germ cells to the site of fertilization. The formation of germ cells or sperms takes place in the testes. These are located outside the abdominal cavity in scrotum because sperm formation requires a lower temperature than the normal body temperature. We have discussed the role of testes in the secretion of the hormone testosterone in the previous chapter. In addition to regulating the formation of sperms, testosterone brings about changes in appearance seen in boys at the time of puberty. The sperms formed are delivered through the vas deferens, which unites with the tube coming from the urinary bladder. The urethra thus forms a common passage for both the sperms and urine. Along the path of the vas deferens, glands like the prostate and seminal vesicles add their secretion so that the sperms are now in a fluid, which makes their transport easier, and this fluid also provides nutrition. The sperms are tiny bodies that consist of mainly genetic material and a long tail that helps them to move towards the female germ cell. The female germ cells or eggs are made in the ovaries. They are also responsible for the production of some hormones. When a girl is born, the ovaries already contain thousands of immature eggs. On reaching puberty, some of these start maturing. One egg is produced every month in one of the ovaries. The egg is carried from the ovary to the womb through a thin oviduct or fallopian tube. The two oviducts unite into an elastic bag like structure known as the uterus. The uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. The sperm enters through the vaginal passage during sexual intercourse. They travel upwards and reach the oviduct where they may encounter the egg. The fertilized egg or zygote starts dividing and form a ball of cells or embryo. The embryo is implanted in the lining of the uterus where they continue to grow and develop organs to become fetus. We have seen in earlier section that the mother's body is designed to undertake the development of the child. Hence, the uterus prepares itself every month to receive and nurture the growing embryo. The lining thickens and is richly supplied with blood to nourish the growing embryo. The embryo gets nourishment from mother's blood with the help of special tissue called placenta. This is a disc which is embedded in the uterine wall. It contains villi on the embryo side of the tissue. On the mother's sides are blood spaces which surround the villi. This provides a large surface for glucose and oxygen to pass from the mother to the embryo. The developing embryo will also generate waste substances which can be removed by transferring them into the mother's blood through the placenta. The development of the child inside the mother's body takes approximately 9 months. The child is born as a result of rhythmic contractions of the muscles in the uterus. Now, what will happen if the egg is not fertilized? If the egg is not fertilized, it lives for about 1 day. Since the ovary releases one egg every month, the uterus also prepares itself every month to receive a fertilized egg. Thus, its lining becomes thick and spongy. This would be required for nourishing the embryo if fertilization had taken place. Now, however, this lining is not needed any longer, so the lining slowly breaks and comes out through the vagina as blood and mucus. This cycle takes place roughly every month and is known as menstruation. It usually lasts for about 2 to 8 days. Now let us discuss about reproductive health. There are certain issues that we need to discuss about, like early marriage as soon as girls attain puberty. The teenage girl is not fit to bear fetus. After marriage, the career of lady is blocked in a lot of family. Maternal and infant mortality rate are high in early marriages. There is little knowledge about personal hygiene to avoid sexually transmitted diseases. There may be population explosion with lack of reproductive health. Now let us discuss about the sexually transmitted diseases. We have discussed in class 9 that diseases can be transmitted from person to person in a variety of ways. Since the sexual act is a very intimate connection of bodies, it is not surprising that many diseases can be sexually transmitted. These include bacterial infections such as gonorrhea and syphilis, and viral infections such as warts and HIV/AIDS. Is it possible to prevent the transmission of such diseases during sexual act? Using a covering called a condom for the penis during sex helps to prevent transmission of many of these infections to some extent. The sexual act always has the potential to lead to pregnancy. Pregnancy will make major demands on the body and mind of the woman, and if she is not ready for it, her health will be adversely affected. There are many ways have been devised to avoid pregnancy. These contraceptive methods fall in a number of categories. First is the barrier method, which consists of using condoms, diaphragm, cervical caps, and copper T, which is intrauterine contraceptive device. Chemical methods, which include consist of taking drugs like oral pills, vaginal pills, etc. Surgical methods consist of removing or tying a small part of the vas deferens in male, which is called as vasectomy, or fallopian tube in female, which is called as tubectomy. So this is all for this chapter. Thank you.